Hey guys, this is voiced by Raging Smurf Gaming. Hello world and internet. First picture you're going to see is a picture of my grandfather and grandmother. That's on my father's side of the family. Then the next picture you're going to see is a picture of my grandfather again on my mother's side. And he is wearing a yellow shirt. The next picture is a picture of my great-grandmother and great-grandfather. And then you'll come across my great-grandpa with me at 4 years old, and there's a picture of my great-grandfather with his twin, which I think is a horse. And then you'll see my great-grandfather, my great-grandfather on my grandfather's side, my grandfather's father, beside a truck. And then you'll come across my great-uncle Tom's wedding, which has my grandmother in it. And then you'll come across a table of friends that has my grandmother and my grandfather and my grandma Laura and Grandpa John and two other people I do not know. Then they're playing banjo and guitar as my grandfather's just sitting there with Dusty. And then you have those two other people I don't know on a couch with my grandmother playing accordion. Then they're sitting at a table again. And then you have my grandmother dressed as a guard. And then the very first picture I see of my grandfather in a muscle shirt. And then there's my grandmother with Heather. And then there's my grandmother with horses, and then my grandmother when she was 20 years old, and then my great-great-grandmother Tyler, as you hear a cat in the background meow. And then you have my grandmother in her 30s, and then my very first dog, Lady. And then you have my brother and sister, as you hear noise in the background. That's just me. And my brother and sister are wearing cowboy hats and cowgirl hats, and they're at a rodeo. Then you have me at 4 years old and my grandmother's cat George. And then you have Lucy and Midnight, mother and son. And then the next picture is of Heather, my mother, Uncle Joe, Uncle Barry, Uncle John, and Uncle Tom. And then me in my very first car. And then there's my grandmother and my cousins, and then a picture my sister took of me in my leather jacket. Don't have that jacket anymore. A picture of myself sleeping, and with Odie, my other dog, sleeping above my head. And then you have a picture in memory of one I carried with a cowboy hat on that my sister took. And then you have a picture of me in my teens, and I'm just wearing a fucked up jacket. And then you have my nephew, and my nephew, and my niece, which is my sister's kids. And then a montage of them, which my sister made. And then there's my cat Nightmare that I had, and that refused me washing my hands when I first woke up. And then there's a picture of Nightmare that I dressed up in a Christmas outfit for some fucking reason. And then there's a picture of Odie and Nightmare sleeping together. And then there's Odie sleeping on my blanket. And then there's my old dog Patches. And then there's 3 pictures of me playing guitar. Whoop-de-doo, let's all throw a party. And then you have my brother-in-law with a TV. And there's Scrappy playing with Midnight, I do believe. And then there's Scrappy with his first haircut, Scrappy with his first vet visit, and Scrappy with another fucking haircut. And then there's a picture of my sister sitting on top of my brother-in-law sitting on a chair, giving me the middle finger. And I took a picture. And then there's a selfie of me and my sister showing the middle finger again. And then there's my sister feeling cool for God knows And then there's my grandmother that's on her deathbed, but God rest her soul. And then there's Midnight and Lucifer cuddling again, and Midnight and Lucifer and Scrappy sleeping together, and then my sister and Spooky being funny. And then there's a picture of my great Uncle Tom again, God help me. And then there's my Uncle Harry and my great grandfather on my grandmother's side, which is my mother's side, I guess. And they're just sitting there. That's black and white. It's an old photo. They're dead now, but you get the point. And then there's a picture of my Uncle Jim, my grandmother, and my great Uncle Tom again. And they're, for some reason, there in a row. And my grandmother's the shortest one. She's the Oompa Loompa of the three. And then you have a picture of my Uncle Jim again when he had cancer. And then there's my Uncle John. And then there's my Uncle Kelly. And then my Uncle Tom, my great Uncle Tom, great Uncle Jim, and then my grandmother. All in a row again. And then there's Scrappy as a puppy. And then me at 4 years old petting George, my grandmother's cat at the time. And then there's my sister sleeping, which I do believe. And then here's a picture of me as a little kid, as my grandmother's kissing my head. And then a picture of my father teaching me how to walk. A picture of my great grandfather, great grandmother, with my great Uncle Jim younger, and my grandmother as a child. And then you got my Grandpa Price, which is just, he's not giving a fuck. And you have my grandmother holding me as a child. I don't know how old I was there, but again, who gives a fuck? Then you have a picture of my grandfather, my Uncle Jim, my great Uncle Jim, and my grandmother, and my great Uncle Jim standing right between them. And yeah, I think that's when my grandfather had cancer. And then there's a picture of Dusty, my grandfather's dog. And then there's a picture of my father holding me with some sort of dorky hat on my head. And then there's a picture of my Granny Temple and my Grandpa Temple. They're dead too. And there's a picture of my grandmother shaking the commissioner's hand. And then there's another picture of my grandfather just standing there. And about them shaking each other's hands, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. And then you have a picture of my great grandfather and great uncle again. Great uncle and great grandfather again. And then you have a picture of a heart, which my sister took, I do believe. And then there's a picture of a putty tat on top of a doorway. I forget the name, but that was my sister's putty tat. And then you have a picture of my brother-in-law wearing antlers, I do believe. Another picture my sister took. A picture of my brother-in-law and Midnight. And another picture of Midnight. A picture of my adopted father and my sister and my adopted brother. And then there's a picture of my adopted mother and my sister. And then there's my brother-in-law, and that's wearing glasses. And then you got my sister and brother-in-law kissing as he was trying to dress as a hit-and-run accident, I do believe. I'm not too sure. And then you got Midnight with her cousins. And then you have my second dog with my father. And his name was Smurf, hence how I got my name. And then you got my brother-in-law being a kid. And then you got my brother-in-law again and my sister being kids. And then you have my brother-in-law kissing my sister's forehead. And then you have another picture of my brother-in-law and sister smiling and taking another selfie. And then you have my brother-in-law acting like he's Santa Claus. And then you have my brother-in-law and sister wearing glasses and smiling. And you have Midnight sitting on top of a washing machine, I do believe. And then you have Midnight sharing food with my brother-in-law. And my brother-in-law laying on a couch. And then you have Midnight playing with her cousin. Cousin. And then you have a picture that's black and white of my brother-in-law and my sister kissing. And then you have a picture of my brother-in-law taking a picture of himself, making it look like he has a pair of tits. And then you have a picture of my brother-in-law and my sister standing underneath a tree, kissing and having a picture taken. And then you have my sister being bored, taking a picture of her laying on top of my brother-in-law. Then you have a picture that my brother-in-law made of my sister and himself. And then you have my adopted brother and my sister. Then you have my adopted grandfather, my sister, my adopted brother, and my adopted father. And then you have my sister again. And then you have another picture of my adopted grandfather and adopted father. One in black and white, one in color. And then you have a picture of my sister with a clown nose. I think she was training for a job. And then you have another picture of my sister in a putty tat. You have a picture of my brother looking like he's crazy. Then you have a picture of and that was my brother-in-law, by the way. And then you have another picture of my brother-in-law giving the camera a middle finger while he's scratching his eye. And then you have with my sister sticking out her tongue. Lovely. And then you have a picture of my brother from another brother from another mother, which we went to school together in elementary and whatnot. And then you have a picture of my uncle, my father's twin brother, feeding a child. And then you have my 3 cousins, which belongs to my father's twin brother. And then you have a picture of another brother from another mother, which I went to elementary school with as well. And yeah, now he's a nurse, I do believe. Then you have a picture of myself and my brother-in-law and my sister at a Nick Carter concert as she pushed me out of the way. Then you have a picture of my sister enjoying winter. And then you have a picture of my adopted brother and his puppy Golly. And you have a picture of my another brother from another mother, which again went to elementary school with. And then you have a picture of Molly and a putty tat. And then another picture of Molly. And more pictures from mine and my sister's childhood. And then you have a picture of my brother saying, "Go ask your mother," wearing a t-shirt that my sister bought. Then you have a picture of Scrappy, and for some reason there's a Flash picture in there. I don't know how the fuck that got in there. Then you have a picture of me with Arrow on my shoulder. Then you have a picture of my grandmother and me at the Flintstones Park in BC. That was there. And she was a good influence on me. And then you have a picture of my great Aunt Gail. God rest her soul, she's still alive. Then you have a picture of my Auntie Linda on the Price side. Then you have baby Lucifer, baby Midnight, and then you have a picture of my old dog, Baby. We tried calling him Zeus and whatnot, but he would only answer to Baby. God help us all. And then you have a picture of my adopted grandfather, my adopted father, my adopted brother, and my sister. And you have a picture of my brother-in-law sticking his hand through a tree as I try to find one. Shit. And then you have a picture of my brother from another mother. where, again, we went to elementary school and hung out with the other few that I showed. And then you have the long-haired brother from another mother, and we met at youth group. He was following me around, and I asked, "Why are you following me?" He goes, "I always follow my friends around," and next thing you know, we're hanging out, and now we're brothers from another mother. And he kicks my ass in Duel Links. And then you have my another brother from another mother, never met him, but I have him on Facebook. And then you have my other brother from another mother, which he's about to be a father. Then you have my cousin, which is an Invamir, and then you have another of my cousin that's holding a fish. And my other cousin is kneeling down to a truck like he's about to propose to a truck. God help my family. And then you have my other cousin on the Lightfoot side, just smiling. And then you have my other cousin that I'm very close to on the Harper side, and yeah, don't have much to say. And then you have a picture of where's my mouse? And then you have a picture of my cousin and my Aunt Gail together, and then another picture of my cousin that passed away, and then you have a picture of me cutting my brother-in-law's hair. And then here's a picture of me with my father and Santa. Ho, ho, ho. And then you have my dad and myself as a little boy, and my father decided to wear a dorky hat with me. Yay. And then you have me all dressed up for some fucking reason, don't know why, but whoopie-doo. And you have a picture of Dusty again, my grandfather's dog. God rest her soul. And then you have a picture of my sister, who loves her stuffies in Disney. And then you have a picture of my sister and my brother-in-law, and it looks like, if I'm correct, the sun is in my sister's eyes. And then she has the sunglasses on in the next picture. And then this picture is of the Backstreet Boys. And then there's a picture of my brother-in-law wearing a clown tie for some odd reason, and my sister with devil ears because she is a little devil. And then you got Romeo and Midnight. And then there's the genie and my sister. Again, my sister's a big Disney fan too. And then you have a picture of the three of us, my sister, me, and my brother-in-law. And then you have a picture of Artie and Lucifer eating, and then my sister's ready for winter. Picture of midnight, I do believe. Then there's a picture of my sister trying to dress as Harley Quinn. And then she has a Harley Quinn tie in her hair. And then she has a Backstreet Boys DVD. And then there's a picture of me and my brother-in-law, and I'm wearing a cap from the dollar store, and as I have a dorky face. And then the next picture is of my sister's haircut. And then you have a picture of my sister, myself, my brother-in-law, and my sister's hat says Bitch Squad. And then my sister at McDonald's working. And then my sister with the DNA Backstreet Boys CD. And then a picture of my adopted mother and my adopted brother as a kid, and my sissy as a little girl. And then you have my sister wearing the Harley Quinn mask. Then you have a picture of me wearing the child mask and my brother-in-law, I should say, wearing the Donald Trump mask. And then you have a picture of my sister fooling around with filters. And then the next picture is of Midnight's first letter. And then the second picture is of Midnight's second letter. And then the next picture is of my sister glaring at me for some reason, of why I'm taking a picture. And then you have a picture of all three of us at the movie theaters. Here's another picture of them at the rodeo with their hats. And then you have a picture of a Minion, Panda, Smurfette, a Bulldog, and a Smurf in the background with my brother-in-law and me. And another picture of my sister and brother-in-law. And another picture here's a picture of my grandmother and my grandpa Temple. And a picture of me when I was first born. God help me. And there's a picture of me getting my first tattoo, and that my sister took. And there's a picture of Gizmo, and then my grandpa and Grandma Harper are getting ready for Halloween. As I try to reach for the mouse and I can get it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done. And then we have a picture of my grandmother and my father in his military outfit. And then you have a picture of my grandmother when she was younger, before she got old, and with a picture with Dean. And then you have a picture of my grandpa and grandpa's anniversary. And then another picture of my grandfather and my grandmother's anniversary. And another picture that's black and white of their first wedding cake. And then there's a picture of my grandma and my grandfather with cancer. And then there's a picture of my grandmother's on my grandmother's birthday with a guy in a gorilla suit. Thank God he wasn't a serial killer. Then you have a picture of my grandma and I. Again, she's holding me. And then a picture of my grandmother in a new car, her new car, and then my grandmother giving some kind of speech, I guess. And my grandmother holding the horse, on a rope or whatever. And then my grandmother in uniform, she liked. And then there's my grandmother with a rifle that she would always bring out to understand my mother's boyfriends. Why I know that, I do not know. And then you have a picture of my grandmother in her old car. And with that being said, that is everything. Thank you for viewing, and God bless. Oh yeah, and holy fucking shit.
When I'm hurting, there's enough giving, and everybody knows.
It's kind of cool. It's like breathing to my nose. You did.
Can you say something else on the camera?
No.
Any more comments?
Take this.
By the way, we started recording a few minutes ago.
I don't care. Cat's having fun holding the mic to shove it into my nostrils.
Hello, viewers. No?
We'll screw with these mirrors. Then why don't
Again, I told you the sun's in my eye.
just turn and go this.
This. No, it's an internet. I'm not
This.
Do you want your sunglasses?
Yes, please.
And the six pack. We're on the John Brand next. That one.
Your sunglasses first.
No, you can I don't know.
I'm ready to use a shirt and do some mustard. It's a banana shirt based on mustard.
So we're currently
That's a spoiled crack. Yeah, because it must have been. Anything else that I do? mustard in my cracks.
I'm gonna sit up because I look less fat when I sit up. And yes, I just fat on camera. I think my sunglasses. That was a scratch, ladies and gentlemen.
Where are they?
My bedroom. Yes.
Where in your bedroom?
On my nightstand by my bed. I need sunglasses because the light is like right in my fucking eye, so I need sunglasses.
We're going now. Pan, pan, pan. I need to make personal emergency landing. We can't the nearest airport. We're all gonna crash, might as well get that ass feature.
I didn't know.
We were making a porno.
Oh, we're all making porno? Oh, okay, got it.
Oh, it's a stuff film.
Good thing I can edit these videos.
Oh, come on! This is true love here, asshole.
Yeah, but I don't think YouTube will allow it.
Probably not. Alright. Damn, I look sexy! These are. I need a fucking wipe. These are dirty. Hold this. Wouldn't be a wipe.
She's only barely wearing sunglasses on her face. I have to believe that she's actually not a home. She keeps running into doorknobs. Hey, look at that butt crack. It's a little bit of mustard between it. Oh, look at that light. It's from her.
That's mine.
Stuff like that I want to keep in too.
This is like bloopers. Take me to your wiener. I see the light. Walk into the light, my child. Look into the light.
Are you sure you want to go that way?
Look, that like this puppy love.
Okay.
Bubbly, bubbly, bubbly.
Get up on my phone. I did this.
Okay. Are you guys
Take 10.
Take 50!
Take 9, you're dead.
are you guys ready to do this?
Yes, let's do this.
Now, you know this is for the biography. Are you biography video type geographic?
I thought it was a montage.
Same shit. Wow.
And there goes a pussy!
Thank you for giving me more editing to do.
I'm sorry.
What do you
So,
edit?
basically, I'm just gonna ask you questions about stuff
Okay, stuff.
and where you get stuff. Okay.
Where I get stuff.
So there's drug dealer. What the fuck is it? I need that
The nearest drug den. Hear that? Drug den.
stuff. You gotta go there and ask for stuff.
Well, you hear squirrel.
The cat rat!
That's a nice folder. That's my number.
Okay. Well,
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello!
I'm coming.
Canada! Anything to say before we begin? This is your idea. Alright, so.
Well, the prime
Please don't
minister.
answer that. Please don't answer that. That's you cut out if you answer that.
Well, the Prime Minister of Canada, I'll answer any question I get thrown my way, and I like answering these kind of questions. Thank you. The Prime Minister of Canada, well, his father created the Trudeau salute.
Would you elaborate what that is?
Yeah, you don't want to be smashing politics. That's stupid. Okay. Any other appropriate questions?
Wall Trump built, can't even climb.
Anyways, any other questions that are appropriate?
What's the meaning of life? Shut up, Matthew.
Well, you see, the meaning of life is a lubba dubba dub dub. Where's the grub?
Matthew, thank you very much for your time.